Hello, my name is Noah, and this is the Young Leader Podcast. Today we've got a really fun episode. I will be joined by my good friend, Ben Bender. Welcome to the show, Ben.
Dude, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Dude, I'm happy to have you here.
Full circle.
Full circle. So, what you might not know is me and Ben actually knew each other when we were like 10?
Yeah, like 8 or 10.
8 or 10.
Yeah.
And we were just running around the forest. We were playing Cowboys and Indians or whatever game we made up.
All day long.
Reconnected in college. You know, Ben is an amazing musician. He wouldn't tell you this, but I'll tell you. You will be hearing his music one day on the radio. It goes without saying. Easily. But he's also an amazing business mind. We got to work together on many projects. We worked together as co-workers at Voice of the Martyrs.
Yeah.
Great guy, great mind. We're here to pick his brain, have some conversation about leadership, but thank you so much.
Dude, I would be remiss if I did not reciprocate everything that you just said.
Stop.
Fantastic guitarist, songwriter. The world needs to hear Noah Ross's music. It's an actual need.
I don't know about that. But anyways, let's just jump right into it.
Yeah.
Because, I feel like leadership is something that we both love. We're both passionate about it. We've both had the opportunity as young leaders to lead in respective areas. And, we're both in this season, I feel like, where we're learning our first job out of college,
Yeah.
And so maybe just talk about kind of what that transition's been like for you, coming out of college and right into the workforce,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. So I just got started in a marketing firm here in Tulsa as well. I'm more on like the organic search side. And so what's interesting about the environment that I'm in is there's a lot of really established people. Probably same in your environment as well.
Right.
And so one thing we talked a lot about in college is Patrick Lencioni has that book, the Ideal Team Player. He talks about being humble, hungry, and smart. And I think what I struggled with in college was being hungry.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest transition that I've kind of had to make and the biggest realization that I've had is like, you got to be hungry. You can be humble and you can be smart. I think oftentimes those are the two aspects actually that come naturally.
Yeah.
It's the hunger that you have to foster.
Yeah, you have to like really kind of stir yourself up and be like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to tackle this project, or
Exactly.
I'm going to handle my business. So I relate to that. For
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly. There's that proverb that talks about he who doesn't work doesn't eat. And it's it's kind of dramatic. It's kind of harsh. But in that way, it's like you could kind of translate that to the business world now and be like, he who doesn't want it doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Right. And so in kind of just a personal growth way, I've had to be like, all right, these are things that I want. These are the steps that I have to put in to get there.
Yeah.
And then it's just waking up that day and putting in those steps, just doing it.
Dude, that is so good.
Yeah.
Come on. Just cut the show. That's good right there. I'm kind of fired up to go to work tomorrow now. I'm not going to lie. But I really like what you said about being that ultimate team player, because I feel like that is the role of like that entry level job.
Yeah.
It's like you're coming in to learn, but to also provide value.
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, I know we're both in the marketing world, in the business world, B2B, B2C, whatever it is. How do you balance being humble enough to like take criticism and to learn, but also balance like the value and the worth that you bring to a company?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's something worth talking about. And
Absolutely.
So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
That's a fantastic question. So how do you balance like being humble?
Yeah, being humble but
with-
also confident, like in your abilities.
Oh, that's such a good question. I think that it comes. I think that honestly comes back to hunger too. Because if you want it, then you'll be willing to put aside some of what you know about yourself.
Maybe put aside some of that pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And realize that like, okay, there are people who have been doing it longer than me.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they're
For
better
sure.
than me
For sure.
necessarily.
Right.
But they've got really good things that even if I end up being, for lack of a better phrase, better at that job than they do, they've got things that they're going to teach me. There's wisdom to glean here.
Right.
I think that's something that I've really been learning recently is like in any scenario you're in, there's something to learn. There's never not something to learn.
Yes.
So if you open yourself up to like not all this may be my, you're not going to get your dream job right out of college. Like, it might not be my dream job, might not be my dream gig.
Right.
But, like, God's got stuff for me here.
Yes.
So if
you're there for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you open yourself up to that, I think you get something that's better than a resume builder, which is just you build personal capital.
Yes.
You become a more effective person, a more well-rounded person.
Yeah. Wow.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds great. Like, I feel like I even just went through this morning, on a project. I was working real hard on it. I thought I did a great job, and I gave it to my superiors, and he was like, he's like, here, come in here, let's talk about this, and basically like stripped it down. And I was like, I'm kind of growing through it, and I'm like, okay, I definitely see that. I could definitely be better there. But I went back to my desk, and I was kind of like, dang, I thought that was really good,
Yes.
And so that kind of led me to kind of approach him again a second time and be like, I totally get it. Like, it's your job to correct me. In fact, I need correction.
Right.
Right. I've been here for like 3 months. I don't know everything. But I do think that this part of what I wrote makes sense here.
Yeah.
And so almost politely and respectfully asking, okay, I get it, but why is it this way and not that way? Almost
Absolutely.
asking, we talked about it last episode, asking questions with the intent to understand.
Yes.
And I feel like just growing through that situation is just like, okay, I can stand up for myself and still be like explain it to me, but still be humble at the same time.
Absolutely.
Because the last thing a team member wants, or a coach wants, or a boss wants, is someone who's unteachable.
Exactly.
And I feel like having that learner's heart is huge.
Yeah.
For sure.
I can't remember the exact reference, but there's that proverb that says, a fool despises wisdom and instruction.
Yes.
Or maybe it's Psalm. I think it's
despises correction. Yes.
despises correction.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I obviously know the Bible super well.
Right.
Super well. But yeah, it's it's that knowing that there's always something I can get better. I've been working on kind of like my own personal manifesto of advertising. It's like, what are the things before I put together any project?
Yeah.
What are the things that I want to just automatically believe about myself? And one of them is that I will never not be able to get better. There's always going to be a way that I can get better. So if I know that about myself, if I know that I haven't peaked yet, then I know that somebody out there has something to tell me.
Yes.
And that's where like you get a lot more open to criticism, to be like, okay, this isn't pulling me back. This is pushing me forward.
Oh,
because it's just making me better.
Yeah.
We had that with like a customer. We were writing a job post for him. He needed to hire an employee, so we were writing a job post.
Yeah.
And he wanted it to be super engaging, lots of pizzazz, and so we wrote like, we thought it had all the pizzazz in the world, and sent it to him, and he gave us this email that just absolutely obliterated it.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay.
Yeah. You're like,
Cool.
Right.
Yeah. So it's back up and
Sorry.
punt. Yeah, exactly. But it's like, all right, how can I take what I know about this and learn how to write meaningfully, but also with the adjustments that he's made?
Come on.
Like, I've just added a new tool to my tool belt,
a great book that I recommend to you, and to you, if you haven't read it, you might have. You're a genius.
I probably haven't.
But it's called Mindset by Carol Dweck.
I haven't read that.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful book. And it basically talks about the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. Ooh. And so the fixed mindset says, this is just the way I am, and I can't change it.
Yeah.
I'll always be a bad writer. I'll always be no good. It's just who I am. It's so and so's fault for not teaching me. It's their fault. It's never not mine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it takes that concept and it compares it to the growth mindset that says, hey, I'm not the best writer right now, but you know what I can do? I can work on it.
Yeah.
I can go put in extra hours. I can show up a little earlier, take a class, watch some videos, who knows, maybe speak to a mentor about it.
Yeah.
And I can grow out of where I am currently.
That's so good.
And I think, dude, if you can do that, like, I see it all the time on, like, the LinkedIn, like, advertising. Like, there's, how there's LinkedIn. Can we talk about this for a second? LinkedIn influencers.
Yes.
Like, LinkedIn influencers, they'll post I saw a dog walking through the street. He was late for a job interview, but it turns out he was Jeff Bezos' dog, and I gave him a treat and I got hired. It's just the random stories.
Yeah.
I think they're all lies. Anyways,
It's the worst.
what was I saying? LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. But I saw this this post from one of them, and it said like Excel can be taught, Sheets can be taught.
Yeah.
All these skills, they can be taught, but what you can't teach is character, teachability, like being a great person, having compassion, all these character traits that, are pretty ingrained in a person by the time they hit the workforce.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it brings this case to where it's like, we can hire for character, but we can always teach skill later.
Yeah.
And if we just get a great person in a role, we'll bring him up, we'll coach him up, we'll show him how we do things.
Absolutely.
But I mean, shout out to LinkedIn.
100%.
The influencers.
Yeah. we love the LinkedIn.
Yeah.
world.
Yep.
That's such a good point though, because like this is probably an overstatement, but in a sense, if you're a teachable person, there's nothing that can be done that you can't do. I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, is there's a lot of things that can be done that they can't do because they don't have the capacity to learn it.
Yeah.
But if you have the capacity to learn, there's literally nothing that can be done that you can't do personally.
Because you can learn it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what's awesome.
Dude,
So,
that's great.
That's
I love
sick.
that, man.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So, first job out of college,
Yeah.
and kind of going back to being that teammate, how are some ways that you are a good coworker or a good teammate in the office, on the call, in a meeting with a client, what are things that have been working for you?
Yeah. So my company has kind of a unique situation right now. When COVID hit, we went totally remote, and then my company has been doing kind of an office transition, taking advantage of the remote capabilities that COVID gave us. So we're actually still 100% remote, the whole company, and we've got people in Kentucky, Arizona, several people here, home base in Oklahoma, and then a few have started working in our new office. We even got people in like Colombia, Nicaragua. So it's a very it's an interesting environment because nobody is actually there in person. So we all get on a Zoom call every day. It's like our Zoom office.
Yeah, right.
And so I think with that, it's maybe even more important than when you're in person to be present. Because, like one thing we've seen with the advent of social media and the internet is that people are more connected than ever and also lonelier than ever.
Absolutely.
I think it's similar in the workplace. People are more connected than ever with resources like Zoom. But if you're not really intentional about being present, the company culture can feel that much more disjointed. So I think it's it's leaving your video on when you don't necessarily have to. It's making sure that you're ready to go by your computer when somebody has a question. So I think a lot of it is just redefining what being present looks like. It's being like, if somebody needs something, I want to, even if I don't have the answer, I want to at least be there to listen to the problem to help them get there.
Yeah. That's huge.
I think that's one thing.
Having that like servant's heart to just kind of be like, this isn't my problem. It may not even be my area of expertise, but I'm going to make sure that you're taken care of.
Exactly.
That goes such a long way, I feel like. I mean, even, anywhere. When you feel seen, when you feel like somebody actually cares about you or helping you, it's like, oh, well, geez, like, well, let me help you.
Exactly.
Let me do something for you, or how can I reciprocate that? So that's really powerful, actually. I'm gonna try and use that.
It's really interesting. I think it's simple and it's kind of cliche almost in a way because everybody says that, be present.
Right.
But I think we say it so often because it's so needed.
Yeah. It's necessary.
Yeah.
It's very necessary.
I've noticed too, the people who I think make the biggest impact in not just my workplace, but even other workplaces are, there's this guy, his name's Jesse, I love him. He's an executive with my company and he'll kick off our Monday meetings. We have kind of Monday regroup meetings, Threat Level Monday.
Love it. Love it.
And he would say, like I actually just noticed this Monday on our call. Every single call, he's like, well, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope you're doing well. That one phrase, hope you're doing well, like changes the mood. Because it's like, here's a guy who has business to get down to.
Yeah.
But he's intentionally taking that few seconds to just be like, I hope your well-being is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like a like a profound thing, but it's like saying
Exactly.
like, hey, like hope you're doing good, checking in, builds credibility for sure.
Yeah, he's a busy guy. You kind of talked about this with Mr. Green from Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
You know, he's a busy guy. He's got places to be. He's got things to do.
Right.
But he's taking that moment to just be like, there's bigger things in the world than business.
Oh.
You know,
So true.
like you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it blew me away. I mean, yeah, Mr. Green. I feel like he's gonna be on this like podcast a lot. Just some of the stories
Right.
I just see in him.
Yeah.
But like the details that he would do, like around the office, like he shows up to work every single day, just
Yeah.
like a normal person. So like when I'm walking in to my part of Hobby Lobby, you know, he's coming in too.
Yeah.
And so he's walking up and down the aisles, you know, making sure everything's looking good, and just led from the front. So
Absolutely.
really grateful that I got to learn a lot from him.
Such a good example. Yeah.
For sure.
Dude, that's awesome.
Kind of switching gears a little bit, but not.
Yeah.
How are ways that you see God come up in your work, you know?
Yeah.
You know, as believers, I feel like it can be easy to kind of be like, here's my church flow and here's my work flow.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
They don't really intersect.
Right.
And so, because I know I've been guilty of that for sure.
Yeah.
But what are some ways that you feel like your faith crosses over with your work?
That is a good question. So yeah, I think one thing that's cool about being a Christian is that when Christ indwells your life, like by nature, nothing that you touch is free from his touch. You know? So that's one thing to just keep in mind is like if you're a believer, everything that you do should have Jesus imprinted on it somewhere.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that it's by you, you know, screaming evangelism everywhere you go, but something that you do needs to have like his face printed on it.
Wow.
You know? With that being said, for me, one of the ways that it manifests is being overly kind and positive. I do think that there's a positivity culture can be like a little bit excessive sometimes. It's like,
Yeah.
sometimes we have bad
Tone
days.
it down.
Yeah.
Your life is not that great.
You're not that happy.
Right. Yeah.
But also there's just a lot of really terrible things happening in the
Yeah,
world.
for
And
sure.
when you're like, no, I'm actually having a good day today. Well, why are you having a good day?
Yeah.
I'm just blessed, man.
Yeah.
Because that's a true statement.
Right.
I am blessed.
Yeah.
Like crazy blessed.
For sure.
I'm blessed to have this job. I'm blessed to have the friends and the family and that I have. And so when you show up with that positive attitude, you make everybody else's lives easier. I think
Wow.
one of the things that we see Jesus doing throughout the Gospels is everywhere he went, he said a lot of really hard things. He
Yeah.
said things that were super hard to digest, super hard to unpack. But one of the things that he did most consistently is he just made people's lives better.
Right.
What things he said, healing,
Yeah.
and casting out demons. He existed to bring his Father glory and make people's
Right.
lives better.
Wow.
And so I think showing up with a positive attitude, being accessible, being present, being helpful, and making people's lives better is one way that as a believer, even if you're not allowed to explicitly talk about his name in the workplace or it's, you know, it's kind of
Yeah.
awkward or whatever, like make people's lives better.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
And then you're walking in the footsteps of Jesus, like in your workplace.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so
I think
good.
that's one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, I love that answer.
Yeah.
Oh man, for me, I feel like it's been trying to do like my work unto the Lord.
Yes.
You know, because I feel like, you know, we get this job and we're like, yes, I'm an adult. I'm in the real world. I'm in the business world.
Yeah.
And it's like this high, you know, and
Yeah.
then eventually though you do come down from it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, it's Monday. It's a great Monday, but it's, you know, I'm going to work.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And I feel like I got into this rut where I was just kind of like doing like half-hearted work, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel, and I mean, I read this, probably a few weeks ago, and it really like kind of woke me up. It's like, well, do all things as unto the Lord, you know,
Yeah.
not for man.
Yeah.
And I know, like, as for me personally, and I know we're both kind of wired the same, people pleasing.
Yes.
It's huge.
Yes.
A huge thing for us, you know, the type 3 in the business
Oh my
world, you know
gosh,
what I
bro.
mean?
Yep.
It's like, how can I show my worth? How can I, you know, achieve?
Yeah.
And, but then I realized, like, geez, like, am I kind of getting to this point where I'm just not even involving, you know, God, and I'm just kind of
Yeah.
trying to do it like in my own strength for my own gain, you know,
Yeah.
when I realize, no, like, I'm here to serve my boss, You know, I'm here to serve the clients. I'm here to serve my coworkers, you know,
Exactly.
whoever that we come around with. And that's why I love what you said, that everything that we do should reflect Jesus,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because I mean, what kind of, you know, message am I sending if I'm, you know, not reflecting Jesus
Right.
in a
Right.
place where I am for most of the day, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just like a switch we can turn off and on, you know?
Yeah.
At least that's not how it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Because like, if you know, I'm pretty open about the fact that I'm a believer
Yeah.
at work and everything.
Right. And your work is not as, it's pretty secular, is it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. It's you know, there I work with several believers, but
Yeah.
the environment isn't necessarily overtly Christian.
Gotcha.
And so you know, what does it look like if I'm like, yeah, like I follow this Jesus guy,
Mm-hmm.
but they can't see that he's made any practical impact on the
Right.
way that I conduct my
Yeah.
business or the
Wow.
way that I interact with other people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
am I doing awesome work? If not, Jesus is now irrelevant to that workplace
Yeah.
in their minds.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that's one thing that is like you and I. So you and I were on worship team together
Yeah,
and everything. And one
absolutely.
thing that I always pray before worship sets is like, help us make you look really good. And what I've been convicted about, like even as we're having this conversation, is like, I don't really pray that about
Yeah.
my work life.
Wow.
Like I just forget to care
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
You know? But it's like, man, I should be praying that. Like, God, help me make you look really good
Yeah.
in the way that I write copy for a restoration company,
Right.
not just in
Yeah.
the way that I stand on stage and sing. You know,
Jeez.
like different environments, and it's hard to feel the same fire sometimes.
Yeah.
You get to the end of the week and you're like,
Oh, absolutely.
I've written a billion photo
Yeah,
captions.
I'm on my
I'm done.
on my 1,050th
Yeah.
email,
Yeah.
and it's like great,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Ah, dude,
Yeah.
I relate totally.
Absolutely.
But no, there's so much beauty I feel like in, you know, coming up just showing God through your work.
Yeah,
You know? And
yeah.
even your passions, your creative passions, you know,
Right.
which you got to get into. You know, as soon as you release your album or you go on The Voice, you know, we'll be plugging that on the pod.
I appreciate you. It's coming. It's coming.
It is. But yeah, let's actually go there for a little bit and
Yeah.
talk about like creative outlets, you know, because both of us, you know, we're in pretty creative jobs.
Yeah.
Creative by nature, but we also, you know, create outside of the workplace.
Yeah.
And so I'd love to hear like, you know, what gets you going creatively
Yeah.
outside of the office. How do you use that for work, but also as like a
Yeah.
outlet as well, you know?
Yes.
So
Yes.
talk about that.
Oh man, I love it. Okay, so one thing that I've noticed is that my most creative moments don't happen when I'm doing the thing that I want to be creative about. I just worded that terribly. But like for example,
Yeah. No, I hear
if
what
I'm
you're saying.
writing a song, my best songwriting ideas don't come while I'm trying to write a song.
Right.
They come when I'm like working out or when
Yeah.
I'm in the shower or when I'm
Yeah.
driving down the road.
Right.
You know? And so the weird thing about creativity, which like everybody knows this, but the crazy thing about creativity is that it's one of those things that can't be learned as much as but it can be practiced.
Yeah.
So the more you do creative things, the better creative ideas you have more consistently,
Yeah.
but you can't really ever develop like a method for creativity. So
Yeah.
one thing that I try to do is I just try to keep my mind stimulated. And so for me, that's reading books. It's listening to like a lot of different kinds of music.
Yeah.
It's working out. And then it is practicing. It's writing songs. It's
Right.
just sitting down on my guitar and just playing, just seeing
Yeah.
what comes.
Absolutely.
But yeah, for me, those big outlets are like things that get my mind flowing,
Yeah.
get my blood flowing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude.
What is it?
I
What is it
love
for
that.
you?
I love that, man. I mean, I feel like I almost need it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I'm creative at my desk all day, you know, trying to think of like you said, I'm either writing up something or
Right.
trying to envision a theme park experience, you know, for a
Yeah.
client or something like that. And when I get home, it's like, okay, I need something to kind of like still scratch that itch of creativity that I still
Yes.
have, but
Yes.
do it in a way that's not related to work, you know?
Right.
And so it's very much like an outlet for me. It's just saying like,
Yeah.
all right, let's just think about nothing, but also everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like that probably sounds really weird to some people, but it's like,
Absolutely.
you know, I just want to put on a knitted hat and
Yeah.
just sit with my guitar, you know,
Absolutely.
and just talk about my day.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like therapeutic in
It
a way.
is.
You
It
know?
is.
And
Your knitted hat game too.
the hat
on
game.
fire.
Normally we've got a hat on this guy, but we forgot
Oh
one.
dang.
This
stuff.
We'll come in next week.
Yeah.
But,
Absolutely.
But yeah. So yeah, I mean that's what I would say. It's just like, you know, I feel like it's important. Whatever you do in life,
Yeah.
to have outlets, to have creative outlets. You know, God
Yeah.
created us. You know, creation. It was a creative thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
As dumb as that sounds coming out of my mouth, you get what
It's
you
true,
get what I
though.
mean.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're creative beings, and I feel like we should voice that in
Yeah.
one way or another.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, I think you said it so beautifully. And like, what I would add to that is just, there's no formula to like creativity.
Yeah.
But still, that doesn't mean you're not creative, and that doesn't
Yeah.
mean, like you said, you can't practice creativity.
Right.
And so, I think
It's-
that's huge.
Yeah, there's a passage in Galatians where Paul, like the whole point of like the book of Galatians is like Christ alone, like Jesus plus anything is nothing kind of thing, and so, but he's talking about how he learned the gospel that he's come to preach.
Yeah.
And he says, I didn't learn this gospel, like I wasn't taught this gospel, I received this gospel,
Yeah.
and it's almost as if he spent some time with Jesus and it just like soaked into him, you know.
Wow.
That's a way too theological
Yeah.
analogy
I love it.
for saying like creativity is sort of the same way. Like it's not something that's taught. It's something that's almost like received.
Yeah.
And so I think as Christians,
Yeah, that's a
we
great way
have
to
like
put
this obligation to then steward that. Like it's a gift that has been given.
Yeah.
It's not something that other people have taught to us. I think it really is like a divine gift. Like
Yeah.
God puts that in human beings as part of what it means to be an image bearer of God.
Yeah.
And so then we have a responsibility to like steward it and be like, all right, how do I make this better? How do I grow with this? How do I let it grow me?
Yeah.
And I think that's where just the practicing and the getting alone,
Yeah.
and giving yourself an outlet for your thoughts and your feelings and your
Dude,
expression,
yeah.
is incredible. And it could be like you were saying, just sitting down for a while and just thinking, or with your guitar.
Yeah.
You know, it could be anything for anybody.
Anything, writing.
Yeah.
Even just like a lot of people draw,
Yeah.
paint. You know, whatever it is, do it.
Absolutely.
Do it more.
Absolutely.
Get creative.
Get creative. My fiance Kirsten will just go out on her back porch, and it's one of the things I love about her. She has this profound appreciation for like the simplest things in life.
Yeah.
And so she'll go out on her back porch and just like drink coffee and write in her journal, like random thoughts.
That's awesome.
And so one thing that's been really cool as our relationship has progressed is sometimes we've been together for like officially we've been together for like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And she'll go back and read me like things that she wrote when she was processing like some of the tough things that we worked through in the
Yeah.
beginning of our
Wow.
relationship.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to see like how she processed what she was feeling, what she was going through.
Yeah.
And those moments of creative expression, just like I'm gonna put this in words, I'm gonna see, and I'm just gonna try to express what I'm feeling. Like
Yeah.
how those helped then inform the way she moved forward in our relationship, which helped shape the way we moved forward in
Yeah.
our relationship.
Jeez.
I think I don't know why I'm
That's
off
huge.
on that.
That's huge.
Yeah, but I think that like that creativity can really affect
Yeah.
the way we move forward with others too.
Creativity heals.
It does. It literally
Simple
does.
as that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. And I'll do the same thing with songs. Like I'll express, whether it's things that I've been hurt by in the past or things that have been like amazing in my relationship with
Right.
Kirsten or whatever it is.
Right.
Or even just a personal, existential crisis or whatever.
Yeah. I've had a few of those.
100%, 100%. It's incredible. Like it's so true. Creativity really does heal.
Yeah.
It's
Dude.
It's awesome.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's good to hear your voice.
It's good to hear your voice,
It's good
bro.
to hear your voice. I feel like I definitely got smarter from just hearing you talk. I mean,
Likewise.
you need to
Likewise.
be doing this podcast more, I think.
I miss Weaver classes where we got to
Dude,
just
Weaver classes.
got to just say
Crazy.
things.
Crazy. Oh my gosh.
If you guys don't know about Weaver classes,
I hope he's watching this. You can see where we're at now.
yeah, there's just no way to describe them.
Dude. I gotta talk to that guy sometime. Anyways, besides the point, we're just having a personal conversation. Everybody's
Exactly.
listening. They're just like, all right.
Cool.
Not in this joke.
I've always loved inside jokes. Love to be a part of one someday.
Great reference. Great reference. One thing that I saw on the Craig Rochelle podcast that I want to start doing.
Yeah.
Is like random questions you got to answer within like 1 or 2 seconds.
Okay.
Maybe give a quick rationale.
Bet.
So, first one, favorite Marvel character and why?
Thor.
Okay.
I think he has the best character development because he goes
great call.
he goes from super obtuse and proud to he gets like uber humbled.
Yeah.
But then he almost gets like too humbled.
Right.
Like and then in like Civil War, he's like kind of weird.
Yeah.
He's always he's kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
And then he gets super fat and like loses his mind. He's
Right.
just drunk all the
he's
time.
just drunk all the time, dude.
And
Yeah.
then he finally like wakes up out of this reverie and like finds his
Oh my
true
gosh.
calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, what a testimony.
I feel like it's
Thor
kind
has
of
a
me.
testimony.
I feel like Thor is me with just like way better physique. I relate to
You
him
look
on
great.
Appreciate it. I relate to Thor on like mental and emotional levels,
Okay.
not physical levels, but mental and emotional.
I feel that. Okay. Favorite beverage?
Oh. Peach kombucha. I'm a white girl. I have no excuse.
I love kombucha personally,
so
so
good,
I'm really
bro.
glad that you like it.
It's so good.
Have you ever had the pomegranate ones?
No.
Oh, dude, they're good.
What brand do you get?
I think it's called Kavita.
That's what I get. Okay.
Kavita, and there's another really big one that's super good.
Yeah.
I can't think of what it's called, but I can picture it like in little mason jars.
Yes. Yes.
It's delicious.
I get the Kavita peach mango.
Oh,
So good, bro.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite saying?
Ooh. Psalm 108:13. It's a Bible verse. That's kind of
Yeah.
like a Christian cop out. But through God we shall do valiantly, for He it is that will tread down our enemies.
Ooh.
It's like a big verse
Come
for me
on.
in high school. So
Come
now it's
on
just
now.
my verse.
I like that answer.
Yeah. What
That's
about
a
you?
good answer. Ooh. If we're going Bible verses, it's got to be Galatians 6:9. I will not grow weary in well doing, for in due season I shall reap.
There we go.
Like that's like the one like I stood on like for everything. Like I mean, it's just
Yes.
like one of those verses. It's just like okay, I can do this.
Yeah,
You know? It's
yeah.
like the season I'm in. Like if I just serve faithfully here,
Yes.
then the next season I'll be good.
So
you know?
good.
So-
So good.
All
Bro.
right. Oh, last one.
Yes.
Last one. If you could have lunch with anyone, past or present, they could be alive or dead. Can't be
Oh,
Jesus. No more Christian cop-out. Just kidding. But yeah, who would it be?
Do they have to be a real person?
Nope.
Or can they be fictional?
They can be a character.
I'd love to have lunch with Michael Scott.
Love to pick his brain.
I would love to pick
Great
his
business
brain.
minds, honestly.
It's about people. I would just love to ask him questions.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
amazing answer.
What about you?
Ooh, great question. You know, for some reason, just the name that keeps coming into my head right now is Alan from from gosh, I can't even remember the movie now. Bro, what's the movie where they all
don't
get
know.
Grant, do you know what that movie is? Where they all like go on like a bachelor party and they
Who's in it?
it's like Bradley Cooper is in it.
Oh, Hangover.
The Hangover series. Dude, he's this guy. He's like he introduces himself. He's like, "Hi, I'm Alan, stay-at-home son." It's like the most classic character.
That's
I don't even know the
incredible.
movie series, and
Oh,
I know
dude.
his name.
I
That's
haven't
pretty bad.
seen it. I gotta
Dude.
add this to my to-watch list.
Check it out.
There we go.
It's not very Christian, but it's pretty funny.
I'm with
so-
you. I'm with you. The Office isn't super Christian either,
Hey,
so
it is what it is.
we're all screwed.
Well, thanks for coming.
Dude, appreciate you for having me. What a time.
Dude, thank you.